All right, guys, here's a look at where the Jets ranked in some major categories. As you can see by the numbers, there was plenty of blame to go around on offense, defense, and special teams. All right, guys, it is time to give our report cards for the season. Let's start with the offense. Ray.
D.
Okay.
I didn't want to fail them. They did win 5 games, but it was hard for me to give them a D. I'm not gonna lie. But D, they won 5 games, Mike, so I gave them a D.
Mike, what would you grade?
I also gave them a D. I thought the inconsistency of how they used Matt Forte and Bilal Powell were really disturbing to me, because you have 2 weapons that you could have used that were very productive, and it didn't happen.
Erik?
I gave them a D-. They had too many turnovers. 34 turnovers. You didn't get production out of your big-time receivers. You know that's just not good enough. D-. Bilal Powell, you didn't let Bilal Powell run the football until the end of the season. They should have been using him all year.
All right, let's move on to defense. Erik, what was your grade for defense?
Defense was a C-. They did a good job at the beginning of the year getting after the quarterback, but at the end of the day, not enough sacks, not enough turnovers, too many free runners in the secondary, just not a good enough performance. They were 11th overall in total defense, so you can't be too hard on them. But overall, this is the defense that we all thought was going to be top 10 in the league.
Mike?
I gave them a D, because I thought this was a defense with this group of personnel that would dominate and help carry the offense where the offense needed help. Because this is a group that had some talent, especially that front. You just can't run against them. They never got to the quarterback. They're very, very low in their pressures and sacks. They didn't have the turnovers, I thought. I felt this was a group that completely underachieved.
I also gave them a D just because I said they'd be top 3 in the NFL. And I legitimately believed that. But what happened in the front end and the back end to me was just completely shocking to me. And for them not to put it with all that talent out on the field, they had to get a D in my book. And don't tell me because they're 11th, I can't be nasty. They're looking at it.
No, you can be nasty. They're 5 and 11. You can be a nasty.
All right, special teams. Coach, I'm going to start with you.
Right. I gave them a D. Attendance, I graded into it. And affinity, because I love the position. I know this. This is tough, because they have so much turnover. It was a constant turnover battle for Brent Boyer, a young, brand-new coach. I thought the most disappointing thing was the mental mistakes that they made in their return game and their punter's performance, who I expected to be a lot better.
Ray?
I give him a D-. I thought this unit actually lost games for the New York Jets. So for me, I don't like giving Fs at the end of the season, but this was the closest to F I could possibly get, just because the punter was awful, the coverage, people running balls out 10 yards deep. This special teams lost games for the Jets. So D- for me, Erik.
I gave him a D as well. This is the team who gave up block punts, who gave up touchdowns. You cannot have that out of your special teams unit. Folk did a great job kicking. He was very consistent, but never did they have a returner in the return game who you thought could make a big play. And you need, every once in a while, the offense is struggling, defense is struggling. You need a big play on special teams, and never did they have that.
Point.
Well, no Fs. I'm surprised, but I got you an A+, and an A.
Appreciate it.
I mean, A.
Oh. I'm sorry, we have to move on to coaching. See, I'm already excited. Let's do coaching. Mike, you go first.
I gave them a D. I gave them a D because of the fact that the way it ended up, I expected some things to be the way they went. But I thought they would be more consistency. I thought Todd would do a better job handling his management of the football game. I thought the defense would be lined up and more aggressive. And I felt the offense misused. They didn't have a ton of personnel, but they misused some of what they had. So a lot of that has to go back to coaching. They've made a ton of changes. The pressure's on them now, and then we'll find out next year. But I gave them a D.
Ray?
I gave him a C. I thought Shane could have did a better job of calling plays and putting people in the right position. Defense let me down big time. Special teams was awful. But Todd Bowles is from New Jersey, so that
gives him a little bonus points.
He went from a D to a C just because he's a Jersey boy.
A little extra points.
I gave him a D. I thought that they definitely underachieved, like Coach Westhoff just said. The defense, they had too many mental mistakes, and they didn't really develop the talent. Darren Lee, he showed flashes of being a great player, but every once in a while, you can tell he was slow with his eyes. And that shows me that he didn't know what he was doing. And as a coach, it's your responsibility to make sure those players know that defense, know that game plan through in and throughout, so they can go out there and let their talent show. I thought the defense, sometimes the offense, sometimes held them back.